Number one, hard work does not equal more success. But then you can also look at somebody like, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, right? Like, do you think that they work 80 hours a week?
I was just going to say, and everybody defines success differently. The question is whether they're being honest about whether that is the thing that they want. And people don't know what they want, but they know what they don't want. Yeah, they know what they don't want.
The problem stems even before that. So
if you don't know the things that you value, then you can't build a business that serves that value.
I think one more point about this topic is
we kind of go through life thinking that people know us, but in reality, unless you're really being truthful with yourself, people don't really truly know you. Like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to immediately think, oh, you need Sheila? Too many people are just doing with the things that they think they're supposed to be doing, that they should be doing. And what I really want is people to do what they want to do and be happy and joyful and thriving and build businesses that serve them. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, hello and welcome to another guest episode here on the Profit with Law podcast. I'm your host, Moshe M, and I'm stoked for the conversation that we're going to have today because there is 500 plus episodes for you to consume, all strategies, tactics, the best things that are working now, the things that people don't know about, best kept secrets. There's so much there for you to unpack and do. However, there are many people who will consume episode after episode after episode, and there is no action, or they start taking action and there's no completion. I myself am guilty of that. The thing that I've shared here on the podcast many times, it has been a while since I've come forward and said anything, but I am bigger than I've ever been in my life, and I hate it. But at the same time, I prioritize everything else in my life above me, and I don't stick to the plan when I decide I'm going to focus on my personal my weight, my personal health, it tends to fall by the wayside. But there's a reason that's happening, and it's not because I don't want it. It's not because I don't have the drive or the motivation. I've been able to do it before. I'm sure I can do it again. But changing the way that I act, changing the habits that I have, that requires a change in the junk that's in my head, the stuff that might be there from before time. I mean, like, I firmly believe that some of it is from when I was in the womb, because my mother is a devout Orthodox Jewish woman, and the day before I was born was the fast of Tisha B'Av, which is the anniversary of the destruction of our temple, and she fasted. And I am convinced that I am still hungry from the day before I was born, when she fasted and I was in the womb. And I came out the next day because I just wanted something to eat. Maybe that's another piece of junk in my head that I'm telling myself a story. But so there's a lot that goes on there, and every human being is different, and we all have our own stuff. Our own junk that's in there. And I'm excited for our guest today, because our guest is going to help us to kind of think about that, unpack that, and maybe even give us some tools on how we can think through those things and understand ourselves a little bit better. So here we go. Her name is Sheila Wilkinson. She's an advisor, attorney, consultant, and coach who helps regulated professionals and law firm owners build businesses and careers that are sustainable, profitable, and aligned with the life they actually want to live. Splitting her time between New Orleans and Brussels. I love that. International life. Sheila built a multi-million-dollar law firm herself. She understands firsthand how easy it is for high-achieving professionals to normalize pushing through overcommitting and saying yes to the wrong people, projects, and pay in the pursuit of success. As an attorney and social worker, Sheila focuses on the human side of business. Her BED framework, explains the roles that expectations, boundaries, and decision-making have in cultivating strong relationships with clients and colleagues, while also ensuring long-term sustainability for your law firm. Sheila, welcome to the Profit with Law podcast. How you doing today?
I'm good. And you caught me right as I was taking a sip of tea.
You should know your bio. I mean, you
I
should know when
know.
I'm coming to the end. All right.
I know. That's
Uh,
why I did it real fast.
let's jump right in. People want to know, who
Yeah.
is this Sheila Wilkinson? Never heard of her before. So give us the
Yeah. Well,
backstory.
that's really
How in the
sad that you've
world?
never heard of me before, if that's the
I
case.
don't know.
Sorry.
I always assume that my audience has not heard of the person that I'm
Yeah,
interviewing. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I can have, I don't know, Elon Musk on the show, and I'll be like, there are people who never heard of you before. Tell me
it's
a little bit
true.
about yourself.
It's true. Elon, there are lots of people probably who've never heard of Elon Musk. I say that in a sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of way because, I am out there. People know me. But people like to keep me to themselves, I'm like one of those sort of best kept secrets in the pocket. I work with I have a lot of clients, and you would never know. You would never know. You're probably sitting next to them every day. You don't even know. So a little about me. Was that the question? How
Yeah,
I got where
give
I
us your
am? Yeah,
backstory.
sure. Short version. I like I said, I split my time between New Orleans and Brussels. I have always been surrounded by the law. My mother was a legal transcriptionist. I had a lot of family in the law and military. And I'm not just a lawyer, I'm also a social worker. I became a social worker before I became a lawyer. And so I've always been sort of centered on what the humans are doing inside of the systems, toxic and not. And yeah, when I was a kid, my parents died young. My dad died when I was 12 and my mom when I was 16. And I was listening to a story about your mom and I just like, my like heart goes out to you. Yeah. And I know what it's like to be hungry. Yeah. Hungry is not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with nourishing yourself. So anyway, and so yeah, sort of my whole plan of what I thought I was going to do with my life, I was going to go into the Air Force and be a fighter pilot. I was going to fly F-15s and I was going to have this other life. And then my parents died and had raised my sister, who was 8 years younger than I. And my life just took a left turn. And I think we could have let it derail us and, really turn into a life that we didn't want. And instead, what I did was take that really horrible situation and turn it into good. Like, life is short. What are we doing with our life? What are we doing with our businesses? What are we doing with our careers every single day in a way that makes us happy? And so I started working in the law. I built a multi-million-dollar law firm from scratch. And then it, at some point, no longer aligned. And the people that I was working with no longer aligned. They did not respect me or appreciate me. And I left that firm and I left lots and lots of millions of dollars on the table, which probably you as an accountant are probably like, okay. But I opened my own hybrid firm and then, yeah, so I've been splitting my time between New Orleans and Brussels. While I was building that firm, I was doing multi-district complex litigation. I was doing class actions. I was in the 9/11 litigation. I've just done all of these wonderful things. And what I've actually found is what I really love doing is helping people every day who are building their law firms, who are building their practices, actually create the thing that they meant to create when they started out. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know what the connection is to Brussels. We didn't
Oh,
kind of
oh
cover
yeah,
that,
I can
but
tell you that part too. Sorry. Also, I have 4 degrees. So it was December 10th, 2008, in the White and Case conference room in Brussels. I'd always just lived my life for everybody else, taking care of my sister, taking care of my parents when they were sick. And
sounds familiar.
yeah, right, exactly, right. I mean, so many of us do everything that we think we're supposed to do instead of the things that we should be doing for ourselves, but which is part of the conversation today, right? Um, and so it wasn't until I got my sister graduated and off to college, and I was already in college. I had finished 2 degrees by that point, my bachelor's and my master's in social work. And then Hurricane Katrina hit here in New Orleans. And that threw all of us for a loop as well, obviously. And I started law school the next year, and it was the first time that I'd ever studied abroad. And as soon as I hit Vienna the first summer, I fell in love and I was like, and as an indigenous person, this is always a funny thing to say, like I was born on the wrong continent. Like, I feel like I was born on the wrong continent. Anyway, yeah. And so 2008, I went back and I was sitting in the White and Case conference room and I said, this is it. I'm going to be here in 5 years. I'm going to be here. I could be working full time, going back to school. It doesn't matter to me. Like I want to be in Europe. I want to be here full time. And then every decision I made from that moment forward was to get to Europe and to be there full time. So I did an advanced Master's of Law program in International and European Business Law in Brussels, which is how I got to Brussels. And I still split my time. I mean, that's been, I graduated, don't make me do math on the spot, 12.
Just give it a year.
12 years. Yeah. I'm like 2014. So I started, it was just an advance. It was a 9-month intensive program. And yeah, I finished in 2014. And then from that moment forward, I just kept splitting my time. I was a Belgian resident. I had my own Belgian enterprise and my own company serving Belgian clients. And yeah, so I've had a life. I've had like 8 lives. And yeah, in a short amount of time. But yeah, it's been great. It's been really great. And so I go back and forth now between New Orleans and Brussels. And I have friends there and here and godchildren there and godchildren here. And, you know, that's a beautiful life. And I run a hybrid law firm and I do coaching and consulting and all of the other stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, some people who live in 2 continents have spouses in both places. So,
oh, not me. I'm not Ben Franklin. Come now.
So, interestingly, some of the stuff that you shared, I just want to just go back to it. I mean, you mentioned that, you know, life is short and you know, we really need to do the things that we need to do for us and not the things that people want us to do or we're doing for other people.
Yeah.
And some people, it takes longer to figure that out than others. But everyone, I think, eventually figures it out. There's a book that I give to all of our coaching clients when they become clients, and it's called Living Forward. It's written by Daniel Harkavy and Michael Hyatt. I followed Michael Hyatt religiously when he was doing his podcast by himself. He's since passed the baton to his daughter, but wonderful, wonderful speaker. In this book, the concept is that you need to create a life plan, figure out what domains in life are important to you, and create a life plan. And one of the things that he has you do in the book is to write your own eulogy. And really, that's how I ended up standing here today with you, because I read this book while I was going, you know, at post-divorce. So I got married really young at 19. I'm 46 and I'm a grandfather of 6.
Yes.
So I was an overachiever. But what happened was, you know, as I went through my divorce, I was in my late 20s. I wasn't, you know, I was still really young and my whole life ahead of me. But it made me start to question everything that I was doing, not just my marriage or, you know, what is it, posthumous, whatever.
Yeah,
anyway,
posthumous.
Posthumous. Yeah. to the marriage. But also my religion, my career.
Yeah.
And I took a detour at the same time that this was happening. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm also a paramedic. So I really like helping people.
I didn't know that. Well, you are a first responder in lots of ways.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I was a first responder during 9/11, and I live just outside of New York City. And I was preparing with the local ambulance agency. They were sending a few ambulances to the city, and I was preparing to go with them. And I had a really young baby at home. My ex-wife, my wife at the time, came down to the ambulance building and brought my father along and pled with me not to go. So we needed local coverage. So I ended up doing that. I worked for 72 hours straight, just covering the local 911 system while a bunch of our active members went to the city. And that was my participation in 9/11. But which you had also mentioned in briefly,
Yeah,
the litigation
what are the odds
that you
of
did.
that? No, clearly I didn't know that.
So,
Wow.
but in the process of looking at what I was doing and what I wanted to be known for, I realized that I was in IT at the time. I realized that I did not want to be known for resurrecting servers from ransomware in the middle of the night.
Right.
Like that just wasn't the thing that I wanted people to get up and talk
Not the impact
about.
you wanted to make? No, come on now.
Yeah. And as a paramedic, I have seen way too many lives cut short, way before their prime. So understanding how short life is personal to me in that way. Also, you had mentioned, well, no, you didn't mention, but in the story that I shared with on the talk with our friend Tracy Goodwin, and I've shared it
Yeah,
here on the podcast,
that was
my
a great
grandfather
interview.
came from Nazi Germany, and he left with his dad. He had his mom and twin siblings were supposed to go with them, and one of his siblings contracted pneumonia, had to be hospitalized right before they left, and she kept the other twin with her, stayed in the hospital, and that was the last opportunity to leave. So they perished in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
So there's a lineage of shortened lifespans. But just last week, I went to the funeral of a classmate of mine, 46 years old. He
You're
battled
gonna
with
make
cancer for 2 years, and um, he, unfortunately lost the battle. And he had done a lot of amazing things with his life. He was the chief of the local fire department. He had mentored a ton of young volunteers that are now leaders within the organization. He also was a CPA and a JD. He was running a law firm accounting
Wow.
hybrid practice. And I'm actually doing a whole podcast episode, a solo episode based off of, that experience. But um,
Yeah.
understanding how short life is shouldn't be something that is a stressor that we wake up every day worrying about it. But it is also something that should help us to choose carefully to try to find
Yeah.
shorter paths to create the future for ourselves that we want.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do we do a workshop for law firm owners. It's a 2-day workshop, and we help them to understand how to shorten their journey. And one of the things that I highlight, and we actually have a Facebook ad running with a clip from this, but there's most attorneys are on the 20-year journey, and it takes
Mm.
them 20 years to achieve a level of success that they could be proud of. And doing things differently, they could be there in 2 years.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
um,
100%.
right.
But
So
they're doing everything they
understanding
think
that,
they're supposed to be doing. Right.
exactly, exactly. So, and the world is telling you like, oh yeah, you got to create better systems and processes. And no, no, it's not that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all,
not that.
it's all the people. It's all the
Yeah.
capacity of the business,
Yep.
and understanding that, making that shift really changes things. And I know that you feel the same way, except
Yeah.
that from your perspective, it's the people like inside the people.
Yeah, it's the people
Um,
inside the people. It's the people running it's the person who's running the business who is, wearing his entrepreneurial or their entrepreneurial or technician or, we want to get into E-Myth, but yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all of your story is kind of embodying all of that, that experience, and I think I mean, I think it's amazing that you were able to figure this out and design your life around what you wanted, and this dual personality,
Yeah.
Brussels, US, New Orleans. I know you don't say New Orleans down there, but
New
I'm from
Orleans. It's all right. You can say New Orleans. Yeah.
I know I've tried. I've tried many
I
times. It's,
know it's
it doesn't come
hard.
out right. So I'm not going to try to make believe I'm from there. Uh,
Just say NOLA. Yeah, it'll be all right.
we sent down a whole contingency of personnel for Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
I had just joined our special operations division, and I was like, and I was up to be called when we were done with
Mm.
our service down there. So I didn't make it down there, but we have a bunch of my coworkers that were down there helping you guys out.
Well, if it were not for the kindness of absolute strangers, we would not have a city right now. Yeah. I mean, this is this and then this is to your kind of to your point, or I didn't mean to cut you off. Well, number one, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, about 9/11 and everything. I think this is one of these things, and I said, and specifically that that you just lost someone. I feel really like I started to get teared up because actually today is the anniversary of the death of my like best friend for 40 years. And someone who actually knew me through all of the things, and I think it's we kind of go through life thinking that people know us, but in reality, unless you're really being truthful with yourself, people don't really truly know you. Like, to the point of the eulogy, it's like, what do you want people to say about you? You want them to say, oh, they were really good at their job and they worked really hard?
Well, it
Okay,
depends on
cool.
what the
But
job is,
right,
right?
depends on what the job is. Yes, for sure. And like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to immediately think, oh, you need Sheila. Oh, you need Moshe. Right? Like, what is it? And I
Hmm.
think most lawyers, I think most people, I will just say people in general,
Hmm.
think that, oh, well, I made this decision 20, 30 years ago, and now I'm on this path, and this is just the path that I have to be on, and I just have to suck it up, and it's going to be okay. And I'll just do what I want to do when I retire. And it's like, kid, you might not make it to your retirement. Like if you continue to have a business or have a career or have a life that does not support you in every single way, shape, and form, you might not make it there. Right. It doesn't even matter necessarily if you work out and you do all the things and you eat right and all, when we started talking out about that, right? Like you could be the healthiest person on paper, but then not make it. And it doesn't have anything to do. There are only so many things that are within your control. And one of the things that's within your control is how you spend your days. Who are the people that you work with? What are the projects you take on? What kind of pay do you actually want? Not the pay you think you want, right? Like I have clients who have enough and want more. And then I have clients who have enough and they're good with that. They're good with enough because enough gives them the quality of life that they want. And they want a simple life and a simple business. And they don't want to make it grow and scale and make it huge, right?
Right.
But everybody is different about what they actually want. The question is whether they're being honest about whether that is the thing that they want, right? And I think to your point earlier about doing all the things that you think you're supposed to be doing, like those are called expectations, right? Like this is sort of the backbone of my work is helping people understand where you got all those thoughts about what your life and your career and your business should look like, right? You're probably trying to prove yourself. You're trying to, show that you have value and that you're worthy and that people respect you and all of these things that come from all of the things that happened to us as a kid, right? I mean,
Right. From a
right,
desire to be loved, and you weren't
right,
loved enough as a
except,
child. And
or you believed you weren't loved the way you should
right.
have been loved when you were a kid, which is
Right.
another unpacking, right?
We all have an opinion about our parents
Right.
and abilities,
Don't get
and
me
like
started.
the reality
Right.
is that I was loved as a child, but I
Yes.
don't know. My brother was loved more than I was.
Yeah.
So
My sister was the golden child, right? Like absolutely 100%. And to your point, what you said earlier about, all this junk in your head. I mean, these are stories that we tell ourselves about the reason why we have become the person that we are and or do the work that we're doing, right? I I didn't mean to become this person that I am. I just followed the thing that felt right to me.
mhm.
And it was really heretical. It was very different. People were like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, probably a little, you know, but I just wanted to be happy every day because I watched people around me not be happy, right? I didn't want to make the same choices that my parents made or that my grandparents made or, my aunts, uncles, whatever, right? Like, and I think this is part of the expectations piece is that from the moment we're born, or maybe the day before we're born, right? There are all these expectations of us, these messages of how we should think, behave, do, dress, eat, whatever. And all of those expectations shape who we are. But whether you actually have those expectations of yourself matters, right? Because just because you've learned it doesn't mean you have to hold on to it. And so a lot of my work with business owners is really just undoing that, right? Like, where did that come from? Like, why are you doing this way? What makes you like, why? Oh, well, this is the way blah, blah, blah did it. I'm like, do they have the life that you want? And they're like, oh God, they're miserable. I'm like, so why are we doing this? Let's not do this. Like, what do you actually want? What do you not want? And it's easy to like reverse and easy. I say easy. It's easy for me. Yeah. trying to, when you're in your zone of genius, things are easy, right? But like, we can reverse engineer what that looks like in order to create the business and the life. But you have to be willing to say, okay, this thing that I've been doing isn't exactly right for me. And what does that look like? And once we can communicate that to ourselves, to other people, and we're clear about like what other people can expect from us, then we stop working in the world of assumptions. Like you can stop assuming that what you're doing is the right thing to do and start actually saying, okay, no, I'm going to make this decision that this is the thing that I want for myself, the people, the projects, the pay. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I think the problem stems even before that. So when
Oh yeah, I'm
I have
just simplifying
conversations,
for our conversation.
when
But
I
yeah.
have conversations with our clients and our potential clients, and we're talking about what they want, and you've already alluded to this, they're not being honest with themselves about what they truly want.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of it has to do with their vision cannot expand big enough because of their own experiences of what is possible through what they've experienced. My friend David Nagel does a talk. He does a talk that he typically titles "How to Turn Your Monthly Income How to Turn Your Annual Income into Your Monthly Income." And in the talk, he talks about this. Like we all have a thermostat in our heads, and this thermostat is dialed to a certain temperature, a set point, and we always are trying to get to that set point, and then we stop, we turn off, and that
The body does that too.
What's
Yeah.
that?
The body does that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we turn off, like we stop trying when we think that we've hit our maximum. We think we've hit what's possible for us. And usually what we believe is possible for us is based off of what we've already achieved in the past, which is kind of counterintuitive to growth. Because how are you supposed to achieve something new if you're always trying to just mimic what you've been able to do in the past?
Yep.
But if we think about it, like anybody who's had $100,000 salary believes that they can earn $100,000 again. And
Yeah.
anybody who's earned $1 million, they believe they can earn $1 million again. But somebody who's only earned $100,000, $1 million of personal income, and I'm not talking about revenue in the business, but of personal income, is something that is so far-fetched, they can't even state it.
Yeah.
They can't when asked, because one of the things I do is when we start our workshop is I say, hey, I'm a genie in a bottle, and I can grant you any wish related to your business. What is that wish? And people are writing down things that are clearly them just not thinking big enough. And there is a difference between somebody who wants, like everything possible, and somebody who just wants a simple life, but they want to just not struggle and not.
Right.
But at 100,000 in income, you're still going to struggle. Maybe 250,000 in income, you can live an okay life. Like you don't have to worry, and you can have all the wants and needs that you desire. But in today's day and age, I would even argue that that's not it, right? So like when you're sitting there and writing down the number for you, and you're giving me a number that's in that range, I call BS. It's just you not thinking big enough. So I think when we say that, somebody has to identify what they want so that they can go after it. And I'm all about this, by the way, which, right, if you don't plan for what you want to get to, then you're not going to get there. It's kind of like putting an address in a GPS.
Yeah.
You put your GPS on, but you don't put the destination in.
Okay.
You'll drive in circles, right? So you have to know where you want to go. But if you can't think big enough, then the destination you've set is not actually the real destination.
So this is interesting that you're choosing this word as destination. Can I be a little, I'm not trying to be combative with you. I love what you're saying. I love
Call
all
me
of
out.
This because
Call me in.
Well, for me, I think the destination is okay. All right, here we go. I think sometimes the destination is part of the problem. For me, I'm more concerned about the direction that people are going. Mission, vision, values. Like, what do you actually want to do, for whom and why? And what do you actually envision? And yes, I agree. There are lots of people who are not visioning big enough. 100%. I 100% agree with you about this. And the values that you have and making sure that the people around you and that your business represents those same values, right? But, and we'll say and, not but, and the direction and the destination is important. But I think what happens is we get so caught up in just this title, just this number, just this. And this is exactly what you're saying. Instead of saying, okay, this is a goal, I've reached the goal. Now, what am I going to do next? And what is the direction that I want to take my career or my business with, as opposed to, okay, now I'm an attorney and that's my goal. And now I'm going to be an attorney forever. And it's like, but what else do you want with your life? Because that's not going to be sustainable long term when you're still creating the same toxic structures that you were trying to leave from, right? I say this to lawyers all the time. It's like when they came over and they created these colonies, and as an Indigenous person, I'm just going to leave all of the other stuff aside, yeah? But just to say, they came over, created all of these colonies, yes? And what did they do? They brought the law that they knew back with them, right? Now I'm in Louisiana, so I'm in a civil law state, right? So I have a very different perspective about the legal system than the other 49 states, right? But they came and they brought the law that they were under at the time. But then they said, okay, we're going to declare independence. It's going to be great. We're going to do this the different way. What did they do? They basically kept the same law, right? They just changed it that they were independent, but they kept the same law. So the same system that they were fleeing from is still the system going today, right? Versus here in Louisiana, where it's a civil law state, and most of our laws, our civil code, are very similar to what's in France still today, right? And so we come from something, we come from structure, we bring that structure with us. And if you have been, you cut your teeth in a world of, you have to do more, you have to work harder, you have to bill more, you have to do more in order to prove your worth, then if you don't change the way you think about what a business or what entrepreneurship is for you, you will unwittingly bring that same perspective into your business. And then you're going to be miserable after 2 years. And so you think, oh, well, I just have to work harder. And then you're in the same trap. And I think this is what you and I are trying to change, right? Like, we don't want people to be in that trap of, oh, well, I have to work really hard for a really long time in order to get what I want. I think you just have to be clear. And people don't know what they want, but they know what they don't want. Yeah, they know what they don't want.
It's interesting because you touched on something that I think, like, we can record a whole episode just on this, but you just mentioned something that I've seen people who, and I'm not putting anybody down, I've seen people who are known in the industry who are successful, so to speak, right? Like in quotes, successful, right?
Successful,
like we've defined
paper.
them as successful because they show up as successful, right? And posting on Facebook on a Saturday morning, here I am in the office getting a lot of shit done because there's nothing happening during the week. I'm so busy, serving clients during the week. So here I am getting stuff done. And we wear hard work as a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, like so there's a few things to unpack here. Number one, hard work does not equal more success. That is a false correlation
100.
that people believe, but it's not true. And we can prove it by just looking around us and seeing people who don't work hard and are successful, right?
Yep.
I mean, I have people in my neighborhood I work from home. So I go outside and there's people they're out for a jog at 1 PM, and then they're out for a jog again at 3 PM.
Yeah.
And they're now, just because they're driving around in a fancy car and they have a nice, expensive house does not mean that they're successful. Mm-hmm. But, there's something there, right? Yeah. So we all know
leveraged out the wazoo.
But then you can also look at somebody like, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, right? Like, do you think that they work 80 hours a week?
Right. No, they don't. No, of course
they're
not.
very successful because there's other ways to achieve success than hard work. One
Well,
of
and
the
I
things
think,
that
sorry, I was just going to say, and everybody defines success differently. Anyway, go on. Keep going.
100%. One of the things that I chose when I started my business was that I wasn't going to lose sight of my family first belief, right?
Mhm.
Like in my domains from the book Living Forward, in my domains, family comes before my impact.
Yeah.
It's more important to me than the impact I'm creating. So my business takes a back seat. What that has meant is in this particular vertical of serving law firms, the easiest way for me to achieve visibility in the community would be to speak on stages. Go to conferences, speak on stages.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to get visibility in the legal field, right?
For you.
For people who are serving attorneys, if they want to get in front of as many attorneys as possible, attorneys love going to conferences. That's a very easy path, right? Like we could look at 90% of the legal influencers out there. They're all, you could see them, you basically see the same people. They're all on all the schedules of all the speaking gigs. For me, with 4 little kids at home, traveling and speaking ain't an option.
Yeah.
It just something I chose that I'm not doing at this juncture in my life. And I instead created my own conference, a virtual conference, and brought everybody to me.
Yes.
But it forced me to think differently about how to grow the business and still stay true to the commitment I made to myself of how I'm going to go about doing this.
See, I would argue that your impact is the fact that you put your family first, so that way you can show up to your business the way your business deserves. Like, I don't think it has to be an
100%.
either or. I think it is an and. And I think we've been taught that you have to pick, work hard or be a homebody, but that you can't somehow. Yes, this is, don't get me started about, what time is it? I'm about to say the word capitalism. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with making money. I'm all about making money. I'm all about making money. And also, money might not be the most important thing to you today or ever, right? If you don't know the things that you value, then you can't build a business that serves that value. And I think we just do what we think we're supposed to do, and therefore then we start creating the systems, and we create this business that is running us instead of us running it. And then it doesn't leave time for the family. I mean, the fact that you made the decision, right? This kind of goes back to the bed framework, right? Like you said, my decision is family first. Okay. What are the boundaries and the expectations that have to be created in order to make that happen? And you did it. It's not an unreasonable thing to want or to build. It's completely possible, but it is a different way than lawyers have been built up. Not just lawyers, right? Lawyers.
Oh, everybody. I'm not a lawyer.
Anyone. Right, exactly. But you are a regulated professional, right? And I think is the piece for me that being a social worker, being a lawyer, being an educator, right? Like I work in regulated industries, which means that the standards are much higher. The risk is much higher. If you screw something up, somebody's life is on the line, right? And that creates an underlying, always this underlying fear of messing up. But the problem is that people are choosing they're making decisions about what they think is the right thing to do instead of saying, okay, this is actually what I want, communicating it with clients and their teams and their colleagues and actually building the business that works for them. It doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer or not. It's a lawyer, a CPA, it's whomever, right? If you're regulated, all of these things still apply. And I think that too many people are just doing with the things that they think they're supposed to be doing, that they should be doing. And what I really want is people to do what they want to do and be happy and joyful and thriving and build businesses that serve them and build careers that serve them and not feel like they're just, wasting their time and their energy and their money doing things that aren't really bringing them any fulfillment. Otherwise, why are you doing it? If
Yeah.
you,
I think
you
one
know,
more point about this topic is I made the decision when I started that this is the way I'm going to run my business, but don't mistake that to mean that I don't have the challenge every single day to
Mhm.
uphold that decision.
Yep.
It
You have to
is a
recommit to it.
constant push and pull. I mean, now going into the summer, like when my wife and I were sitting down and we're like, oh my gosh, the kids finish camp every day at
Hmm.
3:15. Somebody's got to pick them up and
Yep.
then somebody's got to watch them. And we're like, okay, so like, when are we going to schedule the babysitter? And I said, hold on a second. I have a choice
Yeah.
to block my calendar.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose that. So
Yeah.
I
I love that.
selected 3 of the days of the week from 3 o'clock and on. My calendar's blocked. I'm going to be the one to pick them up. And you know what? If we're going to go, I'll go swimming with them. We're going to hang out together in the afternoon instead of they're going to be with a babysitter.
Right. Well, because that's the
And,
choice you made. That's the decision you made about what was actually mattered to you. Yeah.
but I had to remake it is my point. Like when you make these decisions that are your core values, they're what you want to live by. They're the thing that you're trying to build and you want to stick to it and uphold it.
Yeah.
It's not something that you get to decide once and then never look back. It's always going to be a struggle. It's always going to be something that you need to fight with, and you need to remember where you came from, remember what you wanted to do, and continually commit to it.
Yeah.
My example at the beginning is the same thing, right? Like
Yeah.
if I want to
That's what I was
change
about to go
my
back
taking
to.
care of myself,
Yeah.
every day I have to recommit to that. I have to decide today to do a workout. I have to decide today to eat correctly. What I did yesterday is in the past, and if I did great, that's awesome. It's not going to dictate what I do today. It's going to be a new decision today that I have to recommit to. And I don't know if that's in your bed framework or not. I have no. We didn't even talk about.
Yeah, no, we have actually talked about the bed framework. I mean, but boundaries, expectations, decisions. We've absolutely talked about that because to kind of circle back, that wasn't the example I thought you were going to go back to. I thought you were going to go back to, um, I thought you were going to go back to about making the decisions that for you about the business that you want. Because when I'm working with clients, right, we're building, well, okay, couple things. Oh boy, I had three things in my head all at once. Number one, I'll say systematize boundaries for just a second. Two, we're building systems that fit their seasons of life, right? Because your business in the summer and how you can show up or want to show up for your business in the summer is not going to be the same as in the winter, as in the fall, as in the spring. You have seasons of life, just like your business has seasons of life. And in summer, if your business, slows down because everybody's on vacation and the people that you normally serve aren't around, well, that's a perfect time to be working on your marketing and doing all of that stuff. So that way, when everybody comes back, they're there and they're ready for you, right? Like, how can we work with your natural rhythm and build a business that meets the things that matter to you? And for you, that's what? That's being with your kids and picking them up from camp at 3:15, right? That's a season of life. And if you just build a business that's only focused on this quote unquote traditional version of success, and I'm using quotation marks for those listening, not watching, then you're not actually building a business that serves you. What is the point? What's the point? Like, I mean, maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a business owner, and you just want to make a bunch of money and you don't care what it takes from you. That's cool. That's not how I do things, right? And to your point about, timing and stuff, you're blocking your calendar. Like this is going to sound maybe a little wild and wacky, but I plan out my year. Like I plan out the year ahead into the spring a year in advance. Like in October of every year, I plan out all the way to March of 2 years following, right? Where do I need to be? Where do I want to be? What vacation am I going to take? How am I going to, when am I going to do my conferences for my social workers? When am I going to do the events for the lawyers? Like I map everything out so that way I have the quality of life that I want. And then I block all of that time off of my calendar so that way when you go to schedule an appointment with me, Calendly says, oh no, Sheila's not available for July. Good luck. You're going to have to wait till August. And people will email me and they'll say, hey, like when I was hoping to schedule an appointment, I'm like, I would love to have an appointment with you. The next time available is August because that's my quality of life. And if you want me to show up for you the way I want to show up for you, then we have to respect that there are these boundaries and there's clear expectations about when I'm available and not, because I have to protect my time and my energy and my genius so that way you can benefit from that. So that way we can work together in a way that is great for all of us, not just, like it is a very different way of running a business. I know this. It's a wild, wacky, heretical way of doing it, but my clients are freaking happy, right? Like, because they're doing what they want to be doing. Yeah. Like I don't know how to explain it other than just to say that, and I think we have all these expectations about the way a business is supposed to look and run and what it's supposed to look like successfully on paper. And I define my success. You define what successful is for you. Being able to get off at 3 o'clock every day for your kids. Like, what does it look like? What do you want? What don't you want? Then we start from there. And even if you've already got a business, like I work with lots of people who are coming back and saying, I built this business that was, running me on the ground for the last 10 years. I've got 30 more years of work. What the heck? Like, I need to change something. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. We don't burn everything down, but we just remove the stuff that doesn't work. And then we create systems to enforce the boundaries. Like, I don't know. It seems really simple as I'm saying it, but it's very straightforward. I don't think it's
Yeah,
not hard,
I
but to your point, you have to commit to it. Yeah.
yeah,
Once you
I
commit
think
to it.
that's what it is, right? Like, so the first thing is really being honest with ourselves about what it is that we truly want. Like, I think that's the hardest part of the whole thing is really understanding what are we building based off of what somebody else wanted for us versus what we want for ourselves. Like,
Yes.
did I go to law school because my parents prepared me to do that? Or did I go to law school because I chose that this is the thing I want to do? Do I still love it
Yeah.
as much as I loved it back then? And it's counterintuitive for me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I care about every listener and I care about everybody in my community. And that is, maybe practicing law is not the thing that you should be doing,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
now maybe some of you should be entrepreneurs. You should run your business and you should hire an attorney to do the law and you're not doing it. And maybe some of you should just do something else.
Yeah.
I'm in a coaching program myself. Like my coach, his name is James Wedmore.
Oh yeah.
And he serves
Oh,
course creators and business not
yeah.
business, just
Oh,
general coaches,
James.
any coaches. I've been in his world for a long time, and where was I going with this? Back to my train of thought. I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
Um,
It happens to all of
yeah.
us.
Um,
The building the business you want, entrepreneurship. Maybe you shouldn't be a lawyer.
yeah. Okay. So in his program, thank you. In his program, there are a number of attorneys who are on their next act.
Yep.
They decided to hang it up. They're not
Yeah.
practicing law anymore,
Yeah.
and they're doing all kinds of other things.
Yep.
I know one of them that supports people in kind of similar to the way that you do. She coaches business owners in on the personal side of just getting out of their own way.
Mhm.
You're maybe an example. I think you're still
Yeah.
practicing law though.
I am still
Um,
practicing law. Yeah. Yeah.
so, but there's proof around us that
Yeah.
you can do whatever you
Yep.
want, and the
Yep.
path you're on does not have to be the path. There's also, well, sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't want to have a business that has a bunch of employees." And the reason they're saying that is because they believe falsely that more people is more problems.
Mm-hmm.
There may
They
be
learned that
problems that
somewhere.
are different,
Yep.
but if you're trying to separate yourself from the day-to-day
Yeah.
slavery to your
Yeah.
job,
I.
then that requires that you build a team so that
Okay.
they can execute
Hmm.
and you're not the one doing the executing.
Yeah. And I think what you have so this is what you've just hit on is the difference between, you know, the difference between a self-employed mindset and a business owner's mindset. right? The self-employed mindset is when you're making all the decisions like a lawyer or as a professional, whatever your profession is inside of your business. You're making it, assessing the risk based on what you were trained to do, as opposed to you being a business owner and saying, okay, how do I leverage time, money, energy, like talent in a way that allows me to just be in my zone of genius and let everyone else be in their zone of genius, right? And what does that look like and how do I build that? That is a very different mindset than I'm just trying to get clients so I can make my bills so that way I can pay my mortgage so I can get my card. You know, like you're basically an employee for
Yeah.
yourself and your boss is not a nice person because your boss is not taking care of you,
And
right?
95% of people who start their firm
Yep.
are on that exact
Yep.
path, if not
Absolutely.
more, right? 95,
I'm on a mission to
probably
change that.
undershooting it, right?
Yeah.
So as am I, right? And the reason that it is that way is because the way that we start our business is we think to ourselves, I'm really good at what I do.
Yep.
I'm working for somebody else. I know what they're billing these clients. I could get 10 clients and it'll replace my paycheck,
Yep.
not realizing or understanding that something goes into getting those 10 clients,
Yeah.
that something goes into serving those 10 clients, and that is your revenue and not your profit or your take-home pay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's expenses to be had along the way, even if they're not that much when it's just you,
Yeah.
they're still there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you need more than 10 clients, you need
Right.
12, you need 15. And you get to this place where it's like, okay, I actually do need more clients if I want to achieve what I want, but then there's no more time in the day.
Yeah.
And you're in
Yeah.
this trap where you can't bring somebody
I'm
on. You don't
smiling.
have enough for them to
Yeah.
keep them busy, but
Yeah.
you can't to bring on more clients because there isn't any more runway for you.
Yeah.
And
You're
we've created this, I'll say it, a coffin for ourselves.
I call it a monster, swamp monster, but
It's
yes,
a box,
let's
it's
go.
a shackles, it's a jail
Yep.
cell, it's whatever you want.
It's a trap.
But if you don't figure out a way to get out of it, you will stay in it. And that's the 20-year journey that everybody's on.
Yeah.
That very slow incremental growth. And the only path out is when you have the confidence to charge enough for your time to actually make enough to then bring somebody on. There are other paths out. There are plenty of other ways out. And we cover that in our workshop, by the way. So if you want, you can check it out at profitwithlaw.com/. I did not plan for this. Let's see. What is it? It's LFG 2026 or just 26, maybe both. My team will put the link in the show notes, but it's profitwithlaw.com/. It's law firm growth, but somebody else said, oh, it's let's F and go.
Let's F and go.
Right. So profitwithlaw.com/LFG 26 or 2026. I think they both work. Check out when our next workshop is. Come and join me because I help you unpack this in a way, and I'm probably doing it from a very different place than Sheila does. I don't unpack what's causing you to think that way, but I unpack it from a very logical perspective. I'm a numbers guy. I approach everything with logic, but I will show you how the way you're running your business is illogical, and the way that you should be, it makes a lot of sense. And I'll also show you how to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think and you just made a perfect point, which is we think that we make decisions with logic, but often we make them with fear, with feelings that we pretend that we don't have. But my point, and I think to you as well, like I think it's about, for me, it's reconnecting the intellectual to the emotional, right? Like how can we make a decision that works for you specifically? And what you need intellectually to feel safe, what your body needs intellectually, to what your body needs to feel safe and secure and to come from that. Because the confidence that you're talking about comes from the fact that you're doing what you want to do and in your heart and in your soul and in your mind is what you've meant to be what to do. I mean, you mentioned this about the lawyers earlier about why they go into law. Like, so many of my clients say to me, well, I went into the profession I did because I wanted to help people. And I'm like, great. Are you helping people? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so that's project number one, right? But from a capacity perspective, like I have a capacity calculator and a pricing calculator that I use with clients because my capacity is going to be different than your capacity, and it's going to be different than my husband's capacity. Everybody is different. And if we just put this little cookie cutter box of business ownership and we just say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and and you just follow the template, like that sounds like a really boring life. I'm not like interested in, like, I want people to be happy and be excited about getting out of bed every day. And the numbers are important, 100%, right? Like, my clients have dashboards, they're tracking, they're doing all their metrics, and also they understand why they're doing what they're doing, and they're doing it for the right reasons, not just because this is the way you're supposed to do it, right? I have my favorite saying, which I won't use the curse word, but should is an a-hole, right? Like, should is not your friend. Your mind is not your friend. It's helpful, but its job is not only to make decisions. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I could just keep going, which I'm not going to, but
yeah, this was a fun conversation. Unfortunately, at some point we have to shut it down.
Yeah.
Actually, there's Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Work Week.
4-Hour Work Week.
I tried to listen to his podcast many years ago. It may have changed a bunch of times since then. Maybe he doesn't even do it anymore. But at the time, I tried to listen to his podcast, and it was a 2-hour episode. Mm-hmm. And there was stuff in there that, like, I didn't understand why we needed to listen to it. And it was almost like 2 hours of just for the sake of it being 2 hours. And when I started this podcast, I said, I'm not going to do that to anybody. I'm not going to have these episodes go so long that somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm never doing that again. So we gotta stick to our guns here and keep this. It's not short anymore, but shorter than 2 hours. So we're gonna shut it down here. We have obviously plenty to talk about, and maybe hopefully one day we'll get Sheila back here again. But if you enjoyed the conversation and you think that maybe Sheila might be able to help you, Sheila, 2 things. Number one, how can people learn more about you, get in touch with you, take a next step with you? And number 2, one parting piece of advice or wisdom for our audience.
Oh boy. Okay. One, well, first let me say, I feel like you and I should do something together. We should do something together, because I feel like we're a good match in the way we think about things and how we serve people. People can find me on LinkedIn. I share insights about leadership and expectations and boundaries and decision making, sustainable growth there. I also have a newsletter. I have 2 newsletters, one about life, one about law firms if you're a lawyer. But I'm actually going to give you a thank you page that's going to have some free resources, like specifically for your show and for your listeners. And so we'll make sure that that's in the show notes. And then the one piece of advice, I think I would say, listen for the should, right? Like, if you're having a conversation with yourself in your mind and you're just like going about your day and you hear the word should, like, just start paying attention to when you say the word should or need to or have to, right? And when that happens, I want you to then question, is that what I want to do? Or is there some belief somewhere that I've learned that this is what I'm supposed to do? Should, have to, need to. And then once you kind of start that habit of recognizing how much you're telling yourself that isn't true, things will change on their own. Yeah, things will change on their own. Because you'll start to realize, oh, I have this idea in my head that's actually not true. And why am I doing that? And then it gives you a place for reflection, for sure.
Love that. Although I think that when I tell myself I should get on the Peloton, I should probably listen. All right, folks.
I should get on the Peloton because I want to.
Yes.
XYZ.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
I want to live long enough to have great grandbabies.
Exactly. Babies. I have
actually, so 2 of my daughters just had girls, 6 days apart from each other. The day we're recording this, it's about 3 weeks. They're there are babies in
Nice.
my life, and really exciting.
Yay.
I'm actually leaving on Thursday to fly to Israel to meet one of them. So I have a daughter who
Nice.
lives in Israel, in Jerusalem, and I, because of the wonderful life I have designed, I have four little ones at home. I am going to Israel for the weekend. So
Nice.
I'm flying there
Wow.
Thursday, and
That
I'm
is
coming back on Sunday night. So yeah, it's a 11-hour flight there, and 12-hour flight coming back, or 10 hours there, 11 back, something like that. Um,
wow.
but
That'll
thankfully
be
I'm doing
great.
nonstop, because it's very hard to get nonstop
Yeah,
flights
I
right
was
now.
about to say to you, I hope,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I'm gonna spend the weekend in Israel, get to meet my granddaughter, and then come back and have to, recuperate from probably going to a time zone 7 hours away, forward,
Yep.
and not adjusting to the time zone, or just
Yep.
stay on New York time the whole time I'm
Just
there,
stay on New York time.
which worked really well the first time. So this is her second child. So with her first baby, I went for a week,
Nice.
but I stayed on New York time, and I took care of the baby while they slept. So that was,
That's a
that was
good
the
look
perk
at you.
of uh of staying on that time zone.
I love
Um,
that.
but this was a great conversation. What's the URL for that thank you page or whatever? If you don't have it set up already, just give me one that
I
you can
do. Yeah,
use.
I do. But SheilaWilkinson.com/thanks slash, sorry, I guess that's a hyphen. Okay, I'll say it again. It's already set up. Yes, it's SheilaWilkinson.com/thanks hyphen Moshe hyphen PWL, Profit with Law 26.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No hyphen after PWL
No.
26. Okay.
PWL 26.
Awesome. We're going to put this in the show notes, but in case
Yeah.
you're one that wants to just put it in your browser as you're driving or
Yeah.
whatever, don't do this while you're driving.
Don't do this while you're driving.
SheilaWilkinson.com/thanks dash Moshe dash PWL 26. Check it out. It's got all the good stuff that Sheila is willing to share with you, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Quizzes,
connect with her,
resources.
and
Yeah.
look out for something that we're going to do together, because apparently we're doing something together.
I
What
think
it
we should.
is, we'll have to figure out.
Yeah.
But we're going to make it happen.
2027. It's a
We're gonna
2028, maybe 2028.
why would we
Okay,
hold back
2027.
from our people for so long? We'll figure it out. We're gonna do something together. But
Yeah.
I know she already has her 2 years mapped out, so there's
Yep.
no room for me
No,
until
there's room.
2028. Well, but yeah, we'll make something work.
We'll make it work.
But I want to share one last thing before we leave, and that is, we've been working on something behind the scenes here, and we just launched it. It's brand new. It's actually pretty small still, and we're looking to grow it. But one of the things that I've found is that, when you decide to become a business owner, you decide to choose entrepreneurship, you lose something that you may not have realized you were losing, and that is the contact of other people. It is a very um, lonely journey,
I can.
running your own business. And if you're lucky enough to be in like a WeWork or something like that, maybe you can meet other people there. But the reality is that we give up on a community when we do that, and we seek other places to go and connect. And a lot of these Facebook groups out there are great, except that people come in there to ask a question and then they leave, and they're not there for the connection.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create a place where you can connect, and we're running this community in Slack. So it's like a communication tool, and we've created channels for geographic areas, channels for practice areas, so you can connect with people who are doing the same thing as you. And although there's going to be a fee to be a part of it, we want to welcome you in for free until we have our first 50 members. So if you want to join, go to profitwithlaw.com/community, profitwithlaw.com/community. We'd love to have you in there. And I firmly believe that there's an opportunity for you to not only fulfill the social side of like just having that human connection, but maybe meet people that will become future best friends of yours, or will become your referrers or business partners or whatever. Like, just open up the possibility in the universe that there is a value in connecting with others and creating that social part of life, that you don't have to give up on. You had it in college. You had it when you worked for another law firm. there was a value of all of those relationships. Don't give up on that piece of it because you're on this journey by yourself and people don't understand you. Come and be in a room with people that do understand you and get you, and connect with them. And then you make of it whatever makes sense for you. But we have a lot of things that we want to do, like local meetups, and bringing in industry experts in many different domains so that you can come in and ask questions. And then the people who are doing this every day can answer them. How cool would that be? So we have a grand vision for it, but we got to get the conversation started. So we want to invite you to join us for right now. Absolutely free. Just come on in, and we're really looking forward to the connections that will get created from it. So go to profitwithlaw.com/community and check it out. We'd love to have you join us there. And if you're listening to this episode like a year from now and there's a fee on there, and you want to reference this episode and get in for free anyway, I will honor it. So just email our team and we'll make it happen for you. All right, Sheila, it was a pleasure having you. This was a great conversation.
Thank
Folks,
you so
we're
much.
here every single Thursday with a brand new episode. So, and by the way, I'm not just fluff about that. You can look back. I mean, we have maybe missed a few, but we've been doing this since March of 2019. So we've been on this journey for a long time, and I love, podcast recording day is my most fun day of the month.
Same. I love recording my podcast. Yes.
So we're here again next Thursday. Give us a like and 5-star review. Well, any stars, whatever you want to say. Say something about us in your podcast player. Subscribe to the show on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hopefully, we're going to continue to bring you a ton of great content and great conversation. And I really enjoyed myself today with Sheila, and hopefully you enjoyed listening to it, and you gained something from it. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye for now.